Welcome back, all of you. And today we are doing the third unit that talks about gender. Again, before moving to the official text, let us try to discuss for some minutes what actually gender is. Many sociologists and political scientists believe that gender actually is a social construct, which means people are born into certain genders. But again, remember the first class sixth book, Stereotyping and Prejudices? But they are stereotyped into certain gender roles, which means that a girl should essentially do these things and a boy should essentially do these things. We have studied this in class 6, so now we'll see how the extension of same stereotype to the gender roles jeopardizes us as a society, and what are the corrective measures that need to be taken in order to get rid of these things. So here is the thing that talks about gender. Now, again, they have tried to define gender here, and there are certain case studies which are given. Now, we'll take the India centric example, and then things will be more clear to us. It's an account of experience of being in a small town in Madhya Pradesh in 60s. Boys and girls from class 6 onward went to separate schools. I mean, we can relate to it. I went to a co-ed school. I think you also probably went to a co-ed school. If not, there might have been different schools for both boys and girls. But see, what is written here, the girls' school was designed very differently from boys' school. They had a central courtyard where they played in total seclusion and safety from the outside world. The boys' school had no such courtyard, and our playground was just a big space attached to the school. Every evening, once school was over, the boys watched and hundreds of schoolgirls crowded in narrow street. As these girls walked on the street, they looked so purposeful. This was unlike the boys who used the street as a place to stand around idling, to play, to try out tricks with their bicycles. For the girls, the street was simply a place to get straight home. Girls always went in groups, perhaps because they also carried fears of being teased or attacked. Now, unfortunately, there is a lot of eve teasing instances happening with schoolgirls and even to college girls and girls who are done with their studies, working in different offices. Even they face it. So it talked about initial stages where a girl who is going to school, and I'm reminded of a famous story which I read somewhere. Let me share this with you. Mrs. Sudha Murthy, founder of Infosys, Mr. Narayan Murthy, his wife. In fact, Narayan Murthy took money from his wife, as the famous story goes. I read this in his biography. So she told when she has written this on record that when she was doing engineering, she was the only girl in the engineering college, and she has to share boys' washroom because there was no washroom for girls because girls were not into engineering college yet. She was the only engineering student in her college. So imagine the plight of that woman at that time. And again, for many in countryside, in villages, many girls drop out from school education, from primary school education in government schools because there is no separate washroom for girls. So how will they stay there for 7 to 8 hours from 8 in the morning to 2? That's 6 hours. So that's very unfortunate actually. So there are some examples given in this book also, and it further says that societies make clear distinction between boys and girls. This begins from a very young age. We, for example, give different toys to play with. Boys are usually given cars to play and girls dolls. Again, yes, typecasting happens that girls must be very feminine and boys must be very masculine. And I'm still recalling that class sixth book where it said that a guy should not cry, he should not get hurt, so on and so forth. So it's happening for both genders. And toys become a way of telling children that they will have different futures when they become men and women. So, see, the difference is created in the smallest and most everyday things. How girls must dress, how they should walk and talk in front of others, how it's written here how girls need to talk softly or boys need to be tough. All these are ways of telling children that they have specific role to play when they grow up to be men and women. Later in life, these things become very important part of personalities. So there are certain cartoons given here. Let me tell you the gist of these cartoons. The conclusion is that those women who are not going to offices, to some workplace, who are engaged in what we call housework, household work, housewife or household lady, that work isn't remunerative, which means it is not considered as something that can be added to the GDP of the country. What is GDP? That this you will learn elsewhere, or maybe someday I'll talk about it for 2 minutes. See, whatever is not remunerative is considered mostly worthless. So, but we have realized the value of household stuff. I mean, I'm realizing in these era of lockdown, when no domestic help is coming to our house and I have to do things on my own. So it's a several people are realizing that these works are also important, because then you have to, if someone is not doing it, you have to do it. And if there is a housewife who is engaged into this work, whether it's remunerative or not, that can be secondary. But if she does not do it, you have to spend money to make someone else do that work. Okay. So valuing housework is equally important across the world. The main responsibility of housework and caregiving tasks, like looking after the family, especially children, the elderly and sick members, lie with the women. So society tends to devalue this work. That's very wrong, and we should work towards eliminating it. Now, there are certain examples which we don't have to see, because they are conveying the same point through stories. Fact is that what we community term as housework actually involves many different tasks. Actually, a number of these tasks require heavy physical work, whether you are washing dishes, cooking food, cleaning your house, sweeping and brooming and dusting. These things require hard work. You need to move your body, you have to make an effort, and it takes 3 to 4 hours to do it, at least for me. So those who are skilled can do it in a faster way. If someone is doing it on a daily basis for a very long time, maybe he or she can finish it within an hour or so. So in both rural and urban areas, women and girls have to fetch water. Now this was happening for a long time because there was no access to safe drinking water. However, conditions have improved on this front. Having said this, there are certain parts in this country where women walk long miles to fetch daily drinking water. Their numbers have decreased. In rural areas, women and girls carry heavy headloads of firewood. Again, these are not so relevant examples, because post this uh, flagship scheme, what was the name? That Ujjwala Yojana. You have to read these things in current affairs and government schemes, where government provided LPG facility to women households where women were working on firewood, because that used to cause asthma, and that was not very good for their lungs and for their eyesight as well. So Ujjwala has been a game changer that we shall study when we see government policies and current affairs related stuff. So another aspect of household and caregiving that we do not recognize, that it is very time consuming. Yes, it is time consuming. If we add up the housework and the work women do outside the home, we find that women spend much more time working than men and have much less time for leisure, because they are every time involved into something or the other. So there is no time left for leisure and recreation. So women work and equality. I'll sum it up. What happens is that these roles are specified for women, and it's considered that men should not do these works. Household works are to be done by women. But that's a very wrong impression. Why shouldn't men do that those works? What is wrong if I, being a man, can do something which I am capable of doing? And what's wrong in keeping my surroundings clean? Why do I need the uh, help of a woman to do that? Why can't I do it for myself? So these are basic survival skills. You know, in India, it is said that, largely said, that men do not cook. But if you go abroad, I mean, if you cannot cook, you will starve to death, because you cannot buy food every day. That's expensive. And if you hire a cook, you have to do a proper contract. That would again be very expensive. So people cook on their own. They don't see gender. Why can't we do it in India? So that's the thing. that guys should also learn to nurture these surviving skills, because that comes very handy when you are in a hostel, when you are away from your home, when you are working somewhere that is away from your home. So let's not be dependent and quoting our gender that we are male, so we will not do that. This is what the chapter essentially implies. And again, the female students are here. Gender equality, again, these things we have to see in NCRTs itself. So the lesson for today is that there should not be typecasting regarding gender. Women and men have their roles, but these roles are complementary in nature. When I say complementary, men and women cannot exist independent of each other. They are dependent on each other. There are things a woman can do and man cannot, and vice versa. So, of course, the bodily structure is different. Men are hardwired differently than women. Their physical capability is different. I'm talking about a generalized level. The weight of the bones, the BMI, that is body mass index, the blood in a male and a female, the quantity of blood also differs. So maybe the agility, the strength, the brute force might differ, but then both of them are capable of doing their own task, and it is best in the society's interest, in the interest of the nation, if both of them cooperate. There should not be strict segregation. Boys and girls should not be treated unequally when it comes to doing things equally. So there must attempts must be made to make sure that both our girls and boys get quality life, quality education, at least equal access to education. What you do with that equal access depends on the individual. Like when government says that there should be equality, trust me, there cannot be a situation of absolute equality. That would be disastrous. 90 students in this batch, I take a test, someone will come first, someone might come last. So if I say there should be equality, I take the marks from topper and give it to the one who got low marks. No, but all the 90 students must be having lectures similarly, should be reading the same text. The NCRT should be taught by the same teacher. That is equality in terms of opportunity. Let us juxtapose this situation to girl and boy. Both of them must be having access to similar education, should be taught in same school by same teacher, must be reading the same book. Now what they do after that, there can be situation where a boy studies more and girl studies less, or girl studies more, boy, that is what the result will do. So equality in terms of opportunity provided, please remember this, because this thing will come very handy. Will proceed ahead with social justice and everything. So that is what I had to share with you all today. Now very soon we'll have an answer review session with you all, that you shall be informed in advance. Take good care and happy studying.